According to a survey done by Zippia, Illinois is the most hated state in the nation, with 1 out of 4 Illinoisans saying they hate where they live. This is backed up by the fact that Illinois has consistently been seeing more outbound moves than inbound moves every year for the last 8 years. So what makes Illinois so bad? Number 7. Corruption. Illinois has had a corruption issue since before it even became a state. First, there's the corruption that exists within the state government. There's a running joke that Illinois is the one state where the governors make the license plates, and there's a bit of truth to that. The land of Lincoln has had 5 governors who were found to be guilty of a variety of crimes, from perjury to fraud to racketeering. 4 of them, Otto Kerner Jr., Dan Walker, Rod Blagojevich, and George Ryan, were sent to prison and served time. There have also been a variety of other elected officials that have been found guilty of wrongdoing, running the gamut of state representatives to attorneys general. A former Speaker of the House was recently indicted for corruption, so this isn't just a historical issue. Then there's the fact that many state residents have a distrust of the police due to a history of shady dealings. Did you know that Illinois has the most wrongfully convicted people? It's true. According to the Innocence Project, there were 143 exonerations in 2019. They spanned across 34 states plus Washington, D.C. Out of those, Illinois was responsible for 30 of them. That's just a hair under 21% of exonerations across the entire country. That really says a lot. The Innocence Project found that almost half of those convictions were due to the accused being framed by corrupt police officers. At one point, it was found that Illinois had wrongfully convicted so many people of murder that the decision was made to place a moratorium on the death penalty for fear that an innocent person would be executed. Eventually, the death penalty was officially abolished within the state. Number 6. Taxes. Land of Lincoln? More like the land of taxes. WalletHub released their annual list of state tax burdens a few weeks back, and Illinois came out as having the highest burden on residents. The people who live within the state weren't surprised. One of the most often cited reasons for why people leave the state is taxes. Illinois has the second highest average real estate tax in the country after New Jersey. According to World Population Review, it works out to 2.3%. For the average home, that's about $4,300 per year. Then you have the 4.95% income tax, as well as sales taxes for the state, counties, cities, and other municipalities. On top of that, there are excise taxes for everything from gas, with the second highest gas tax in the nation, to cigarettes to cell phones, and even bottled water in some locations within the state. Overall, WalletHub says the tax burden is an astounding 15.01% for Illinoisans. For the average person, that's about $9,488 each year. That adds up, and each year it seems more taxes get added, so it's no wonder people are fed up with it. Number 5. Bad roads. With Illinoisans paying so much in taxes, they wonder why exactly the roadways in the state are in such disrepair. According to an annual report from an organization called the Reason Foundation, Illinois is ranked 40th out of all of the states for road conditions. The report scores roads on categories like urban and rural pavement conditions, traffic fatalities, administrative costs per mile, and spending per mile of highway. Illinois residents pay $123,500 per state-controlled mile of highway, making it the 39th for total spending per mile. Another report from a national transportation research organization found that 8% of Illinois' roadways are rated in poor condition. 36% of urban interstates within Illinois are considered congested during peak hours, and traffic has increased 17% over the last 20 years. But the state hasn't kept pace with adding new lanes and roadways. Surveys found that 61% of Illinoisans felt that there is a need for additional funding for roadway repairs, but they don't want to have to pay any additional taxes for it. That may be because the average motorist is already shelling out $1,264 for repairs to their vehicles for damage caused by cracked roadways and potholes. Number 4. Crime. Illinois isn't as bad as some states, but it's not great either. Politicians love to talk about the crime in the city of Chicago. It's well known that the Windy City has a problem with gangs and violence, but it's not just Chicago. In fact, Chicago isn't even the most dangerous place in the state. That dubious distinction belongs to Danville. There are a lot of cities and towns across Illinois that have high crime rates. Some of them are small communities where you would expect there to be safety, but that's just not the case. When you look at the overall homicide rate for the state of Illinois, it comes in at the 9th highest rate in the country, at 7.8 per 100,000 people. Then there are the burglaries. According to a publication called 24/7 Wall Street, Illinois had the 10th highest number of burglaries, at 31,020. However, Illinois has over 12 million residents, so when you break it out to a per capita rate, it's 246.4 per 100,000 people, which is the 16th lowest rate in the US. Once you take all crimes, Illinois clocks in with 425.9 per 100,000 people, making it the 19th highest crime rate in the country. Number 3. Long commutes. Americans hate commuting. It's no wonder why. Studies have found that long commutes can negatively impact a person's health. For one thing, the more time you spend on the road, the greater the chance of getting into a traffic accident. There's also a greater risk of chronic back and neck pain due to the additional time sitting. Wasting time traveling to and from a job has also been shown to affect marital stability. Commuters, when surveyed, said that having to travel an additional 20 minutes to work would make them just as unhappy as if they had received a 19% reduction in pay. Almost 1/4 of workers have quit a job because of travel time. In the US, the average commute time is 26 minutes, but in Illinois, it's 27.9 minutes. That gives the land of Lincoln the 7th longest commute overall. Those who live downstate may have to travel to larger areas where the jobs are located, and those who live in the northern part of the state have to contend with a lot of traffic. According to one study, Chicagoans have the 2nd longest commute behind only New York City. Some people spend more than an hour getting to work. Supercommuters are those who spend more than 90 minutes commuting each way, and they found that 2.961% of Illinois' residents fall into that category. It doesn't help that 23.3% of workers commute to a county outside of their residence. Number 2. Weather. The Midwest region, in general, is known for unpredictable weather, so it's no secret that the people who live in Illinois spend a fair amount of time complaining about what Mother Nature is up to. If spring and fall are your favorite seasons, Illinois definitely isn't the place for you. We get about a month for each of them, and spring is usually rainy, so we can't even enjoy it. Summer is hot and humid with frequent tornado warnings and watches, and it seems to last about 4 months. Then winter is about 6 months of precipitation ranging from cold rain to sleet to blizzards. You just never know. And then there's the crazy temperature changes. This is the actual forecast for my town in central Illinois for this week. Cold, followed by a random spike to 71 degrees, and then back to cold. You just never know what you're going to get, so you have to be prepared for anything. Number 1. Bad schools. According to a 2018 report by Education Trust, which is an education advocacy group, school districts in Illinois have some of the most unequal funding in the nation. Over 83% of school districts are inadequately funded, with 50% of schools receiving less than 70% of the funds that they need. More than 1.7 million Illinois students are attending underfunded schools. One district superintendent blamed the state constitution for this. He was quoted as saying, "We primarily rely upon property taxes to fund schools, and our state constitution is interpreted to mean that the state does not have an obligation to pay a majority of funding for schools." Education Trust verified that. They found that local resources provide most of the funding, usually around 2/3 of it, with state and federal funding making up the difference. So what happens is in areas where there isn't as much wealth because the homes aren't worth as much and there aren't as many homeowners, the schools receive less money and the students receive an inadequate education. That sets them up to fail in life and continues the cycle of poverty for a lot of people. What other reasons can you think of for why Illinois is the worst? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, hit the thumbs up and share on social media so other people can find it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I remain stuck in the cornfield.